who in this three-way looks good? What's going on here? Why is this a three-way? What are we doing?
It's a three-way because Triple H doesn't know how to book the women's division.
All right. Well, low key, I think there's probably some reasonings that we'll see post WrestleMania, but it's aggravating because I don't want to say dream match, but you have a money match in Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley, right? And I really like Iyo Sky, but I don't know. She just doesn't fit here. It doesn't really, I don't know. It's just too much. She's had great matches with Rhea in the past in NXT. She's had great matches with Bianca Belair on Raw or Backlash. So she does fit with these two girls, but the timing of it all is just not a thing right now. Why?
For me, honestly, I felt like Bianca was the odd one out. Like, yeah, sure, this is a dream match, Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. But Bianca was the one who just got slid into the mix. Like, it was an omen. They've been gesturing and hinting towards Rhea Ripley versus Iyo since the beginning of the year. And then all of a sudden, Bianca won the chamber, and it's just like, oh, this is what we're doing.
So this is like a definition of like this whole NXT stand and deliver in WrestleMania weekend, where it's just, to me, it seems like everyone's had a great year. We're going to get as much people on the card as possible, and we only have 14 slots. So, whoever's the most worthy will make 3-mans, 4-mans. We're going to make shit happen. Right, especially up top. So I don't know. I'm glad that there is a non-title women's match. I think Jade and Naomi deserve that. But yes, a comparison with Iyo and Rhea Belair would not fit, and you'd think she'd be fitting more with Naomi and Jade. But there's 3 little stories within this 3-way match, and none of them fit at the moment.
Well, I think they're all going to come to a head during this match. I think that Naomi and Jade are going to play into how this match finishes.
Okay. So let me think. So Jade, this is night 2. I know that for a fact. Mm-hmm. And Naomi's Jade's night 1, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I just want to lay that out. Continue.
I still am a firm believer that Bianca had something to do with Jade's attack.
Okay.
They've been leaving little Easter eggs, and one of the things that was like a aha moment for me was Jade only referenced that she saw Naomi running away, not that she saw Naomi attack her. And when Naomi and Bianca had their little face-to-face, Naomi's like, yeah, I did it for you.
That could be some stalker shit, though. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
But it also could be, I'm taking the blame for you. I know you did it. You don't know that I know you did it. But I'm taking the blame for you. But I don't know. I feel like something's going to come to a head during this Jade and Naomi match that's going to cause the two of them to turn on Bianca. And Bianca's going to be the problem. And they're essentially going to be what neutralizes Bianca in this triple threat match. Because realistically speaking, I'm thinking for storyline purposes, I'm pretty sure WWE's tired of people referring to Bianca Belair's undefeated WrestleMania streak. Like, it wasn't purposefully built that way. It's just something that happened to happen. Just like Charlotte Flair at SummerSlam, until her streak got broken a couple years ago. Like, it wasn't a purposeful build. So I'm thinking it's gonna go Iyo pinning Rhea. That way we dissolve Bianca's streak. Her character doesn't take a hit because she didn't take the pin. And then we're gonna get a full-on heel turn from Bianca because Jade and or Naomi are going to expose Bianca for what she did or what she played a part in.
So you're saying Bianca's the messy one here?
All right. Real messy. Bianca had no reason to come sit out ringside in the first place.
Well,
Bianca,
it was so, to kind of harping back on this match a little bit, it was very loose. And I think Rhea was probably the one that kind of looked the weakest in it coming out of it. That Rhea got mad that Bianca's cheering on Iyo. Like, why would Rhea care? Like, that's the part that's like,
she's like, yo, you're supposed to be my friend. Like, what does it look like? Like, me and somebody get like into an altercation, and you're standing there, Ryan, and you're cheering on this other person too. I'm gonna be mad as fuck. Like,
yeah, but I don't.
you are gonna have a conversation.
All right, but I don't think the relationship between Belair and Rhea has been established that deeply on TV. I thought it looked weak and loose for me, in my opinion.
It looked weak and loose from a short-term perspective, but if we take it back to the last of their NXT days, the bond was there.
Yeah, but the audience don't know that. The diehards barely know that.
Like, it's been, they were chill, they were friends, they were just, you know, teaming up at War Games together. Like, granted, Iyo was there too, but like Iyo was just there. Like, it wasn't anything crazy.
So it's like this match, Iyo was just there.
But I do find it interesting that everybody on one side of the War Games team are facing each other at Mania this year.
Oh, yeah, that's cute. That is cute, actually. Yeah, good call.
I think that's really interesting. It's supported a theory that I've been saying.
Hey, that could be good long-term Paul Levesque booking.
I was about to say, it's supported a theory that I've been saying for a long time, that I think Survivor Series is there to show you somewhat of a blueprint of what Mania is going to look like.
Yeah, over the road too. Yeah, that's a great call. That's in the past, in the 90s and stuff like that, you definitely see that.
Yeah. The entire women's WrestleMania card, the booking's messy.
All right. Let's it is messy, and we agree with that, but like, let's clean up this mess a little bit and give these girls their flowers, right? Because they deserve to go out there and have a great match. Because all this messiness can be figured out. Because there's messiness on the SmackDown side too that they like legit need to figure out. But I think these girls are on the same team, and I'm a little nervous about the crowd investment wise here, because here's the thing: Rhea is not as strong perception wise as she once was, in my opinion. Belair is going through a transition, and she's messy, just like you said. And Iyo is just treated like she's there. So besides the diehard fans, who's going to really be yearning for your attention in this match? That's what I'm a little bit concerned about.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I honestly think that this matchup and this build is an opportunity for Iyo to really prove why she's champion, to really put the exclamation mark on her resume. Because like, people like just say, who's Iyo Sky? Like, I'm seeing a lot of people like, who cares? It's not realistic for Iyo Sky to be in a match with. Exactly. Like, Iyo's one of the most badass women's wrestlers in the world right now.
No doubt.
She's brilliant. Her resume speaks for itself in and out of WWE.
All three of these chicks are badass.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's why it's so friggin' annoying to me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think it's time for Iyo to really, because in my opinion, Iyo stole the show. Iyo and Bayley stole the show at Mania.
Yeah, it was all right. I liked Becky and Rhea better, but
it was there.
Agree to disagree.
It was a match. It was a decent match. I think Bayley and Iyo have the more technically sound match.
Well, in my opinion, Becky and Rhea benefited from, kicking off WrestleMania, and Iyo and Bayley were right before Cody, so there was the anticipation for Cody and Roman was there, which hurt their match. That's why this match here is going to kind of benefit or be detracted for where they place it. Do you think this opens night 1 maybe, or night 2? Excuse me. Any chance there?
No, I think this match might be smack dab in the middle of the card.
Okay, which is a great spot, you would think.
Yeah. I think this match is going to be a character, not just a character, but a career-defining moment for all three of them. I think we're moving Rhea Ripley into what I think probably is best for her story, for her character right now, is to be essentially the female equivalent of like Crash Out Drew McIntyre right now. And I think it does wonderful for her character development.
I just think Drew's so much better at it than her in a way. I don't know. She's got a rebound. She's on track. She's just got a rebound to me.
Yeah, I don't think she's really pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
There are several like women right now in WWE that I really think that they have not pulled the trigger on their characters. Rhea Ripley being one of them. We're starting to see it a little bit out of Charlotte Flair. Like she really like going balls to the wall with this heel turn. Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to be really big for her. I think we're going to see perhaps a heel turn for Bianca. I think it's necessary. I think it's so necessary.
I think that's where Triple H sees her. If you look back at her NXT days, right? That's kind of where Triple H sees her. And she's been there as a baby face since 2020. So it's been 5-6 years.
So here's my issue with Bianca Belair. And
she's my favorite out of these three. So continue.
I was a diehard Bianca Belair fan until about 2-ish years ago. Okay. And I really started to, I want to say about 2 or 3 years ago is when I started to watch wrestling from a different lens, from more of an analytical perspective, rather than just, I'm here enjoying wrestling. If Bianca Belair was anybody else who brought to the table what she brings to the table, we'd be booing them. I'm not going to lie to you. She's one of the most consistent oversellers in the business, not just in the ring, but her acting as well. Like, I don't know what the hell that hyperbolic display that she put on at Elimination Chamber was when she was in the chamber. That was crazy.
Oh, when it kicked off? Or no, when she was in the cage with when it...
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Her panic meter was a little strong.
Yeah, that was extra. But yeah, she's one of the most consistent oversellers in the business. Talk about a limited moveset.
Yeah, you don't really...
She's got a limited moveset.
If it worked, don't fix it.
Her promo cutting is inconsistent. It's always been inconsistent. And there are so many people, especially amongst the IWC, saying that Jey Uso does not deserve a world title match at Mania for those exact same 3 reasons.
Well, with Belair, she's cookie cutter, but she's cookie cutter at the highest level. She's like Hogan, Cena, in my opinion, that you don't need to.
She had a great gimmick.
If it don't work, if it don't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean?
She had a great gimmick, which was a great distraction from all of those things.
Well, she's just working to her strengths. I don't know. I think she's extremely. I think she's more connecting than Rhea.
Now the gimmick has gone stale.
Yeah.
And I think a heel turn can do a lot for her because
I agree too. It's time for that. Absolutely.
It's time for the heel turn. I don't see her realistically getting better in the ring. I don't see her realistically deciding to stop overselling. Which I understand with someone of her intimidation level, someone of her size, her stature. I understand why overselling would probably be a problem because most of the women are smaller than her. Mm-hmm. You see similar issues for the opposite reason in women like Liv Morgan. She sells every match like she's in a ring with Rhea Ripley. Every woman ain't Rhea Ripley. You ain't got to go too crazy on the.
Liv's also 5 foot nothing.
She's tiny, so she oversells everything at times because a lot of the women are bigger than her. But I think a heel turn will help revitalize the gimmick. Also, I feel like the EST should have been like a heel gimmick.
Well, it was originally, right?
Never been a babyface gimmick in the first place. When I hear EST, I hear ring general.
Initially, when she was a heel. Then on the main roster, it just wasn't broken, and she proved that she was the best and the quickest and the fastest and the strongest. So it works. Confidence is key, right?
I mean, sure. I mean, I wouldn't say that she's the EST really in most of those categories, if I'm being honest with you, but she's the most well-rounded talent in all of those categories. So when you're presenting that way and you're a baby face, it's just like, meh.
See, all your points with like this Mount Rushmore of Belair and this Mount Rushmore of Rhea, it should be focused on them for a first time matchup like this on this stage. I understand they had big NXT matchups, whatever. But even 2 years ago, post WrestleMania, they had the face off after 39 when Belair was the champ, when Rhea was the champ. They said, one day we're going to do this and figure out who this is. And to insert Iyo here, again, going full circle, takes away from that moment, in my opinion.
I think the goal is to do this Belair versus Ripley thing at SummerSlam.
Yeah, but that's fine and all. It's or Evolution, right? And right before that makes sense too. But yeah. But why even put it here at WrestleMania in a three-way? Because it should be a first-time thing.
It's a tease, and Triple H loves to do that. He loves to tease.
And perhaps I'm confident enough to say it will make sense at the end of SummerSlam or Evolution, or even at the WrestleMania, you'll see a direction. I get there. I'm willing to play that journey. But just from a marquee money standpoint, Rhea, Belair, they pretty much came up a year apart, and they've been isolated away from each other the whole time with hints of kind of collision. And they both have this big Mount Rushmore type figures, homemade, homegrown. It sells itself. Like, it should be 1-1.
I think you're hitting the nail right on the head, and that is a big part of why this is the way that it is. From a big marquee money standpoint, I'm not going to give you what you really want out of the women's division now because I'm stalling for Evolution to give you what you really want.
Yeah, then just go Iyo and Belair, or just go Iyo and Rhea and make it figure it out, right? I don't know.
I think the problem is they were on the path.
Yeah.
They were already on the path to give us what we wanted.
Everyone bitches you want more story, and then you bitch you got a story, right? So who are we? But yeah.
Yeah, I think they were on the path to give us what we wanted, and then Evolution became a for sure thing. So it's okay. We got to derail this real quick.
Yeah.
Insert one in between, and then we can give them what they want at Evolution, because they got to figure out a way. Because let's be honest, women's wrestling has come a long ways, but a good part of wrestling fans still use women's matches as bathroom breaks. So you got to put out all the stops if it's going to be an all women's PLE.
I know, that's why it should have been saved. It's not going to be what it should be, right? If you want to make that pay-per-view, would have been made for the first time ever, 1v1, not with this diminished three-way here that takes away from 1v1.
That's why I think inserting Iyo between and maybe causing Naomi and Jade to interfere and maybe neutralize Bianca is what's going to save this Ripley versus Belair matchup.
All right. That'd be hell of a prognostication. That would be it. So, all right, we're here. You still going Iyo?
Heck yeah.
And she's pinning who?
I think she's pinning Rhea.
Yeah, I think so too. And all right, so if there's 100% of this poker chip here, I would probably go at least 50% Iyo's winning. I'd probably go 35% Belair's winning, and then I'd go 15% Rhea's winning. That's how I outsee it. But I think ultimately Iyo Sky is your favorite, and perhaps is the right choice with this scenario, I guess.
He is the right choice because putting a championship on either one of them, on either one of the other ladies, doesn't do anything for their character development right now.
Too messy right now. Full circle. Too messy.
It's too messy, and I don't use the forbidden B word buried often. But if Iyo does not retain, given the trajectory and how they've been building this storyline, they genuinely run the risk of burying Iyo Sky. Because they've been pie-facing her, pushing her down, throwing her out of the ring for weeks now, pretending as if she doesn't matter, she's not a threat, her resume means nothing, she doesn't mean anything. So if if one of them wins, let alone if one of them pins her, we run the risk of genuinely burying Iyo Sky as a talent. And I don't think that's where WWE is going, especially when we got Stephanie and Julia and Zarya and Jordan Grace in
On
the
the cusp. Yeah.
NXT right now. I don't think that's the route we're going.
All that being said, all right, I'm not gonna go again. But do you, with all this messiness and all these scenarios, and Rhea figured it out, and Bianca figured it out, and Iyo stuck in the middle, is this gonna live up to this great anticipation of a? Will it live up to the hype, pretty much, of being a great match?
Oh, I think it's going to be a great match. Do I think it's going to be Rhea versus Charlotte? Absolutely not. No.
Could have been, though. Could have been.
Do I think it's going to be Becky versus Charlotte at Evolution? No. Do I think it's going to be as great of a match as probably AJ Styles versus Logan Paul is about to be? That's on the same card. No. But I do think that we're going to get a solid match.
You kind of have to with the talent in here, right? Unless if they completely clusterfuck the booking.
Unless they cancel each other out, which is always a risk that you run.
It's just unfortunate we have this sentiment towards this match because, I do like all three women here. So we'll see. Yeah. All right, Ebbi, this was fun. We'll see you on the next one.
Okie dokie.